moving on to two Premier League stalwarts in Aston Villa and Liverpool, of course. Yeah. Obviously, they drew 1-1 yesterday, Frankie. Brilliant game, I thought. What did you make of it?
You know, I went after the game on YouTube. I went a bit, I lost my voice a bit celebrating it. It's absolutely unbelievable to see Aston Villa go away to Anfield against a team that have won 7 games in a row, at a team that needs to win to get into the Champions League, a place where, Liverpool fans, fairly enough, probably think they have a bit of a divine right to be, particularly with a manager like Jurgen Klopp. It is incredible to see Aston Villa go into that sort of environment, needing a result for their own European ambitions, to go there with a tactical plan, work out a way to stop this team that's won 7 games in a row, go there with every single player, not just enacting that plan, but also looking so 100% up for it. And, it made me feel a bit like, and then also in the second half, to cope with the pressure that the fans were putting on, Anfield, the loud noise, with the players themselves having to deal with Liverpool's constant pressure. It was incredible feat of mentality, I thought, and something as a Villa fan, I feel like I've got in Doctor Who's TARDIS and gone to a parallel universe where Remy Gard never happened, where a season of Alex McLeish during 0-0, celebrating a clearance from the sure foot of Alan Hutton, never transpired. We're in a place where Aston Villa go into games tactically knowing what the hell they're doing. They have a coach who watches, all week long. Unai Emery has not been sitting around playing Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, 10 out of 10 game, by the way. He's not, his whole family's been wondering where he is. He ain't been sitting around gaming. He's been sitting around watching Liverpool over and over and over again, studying them. And it showed, because when we turned up to the game against Liverpool, we played in a style that's completely negated their attacking threat, particularly in the first half. It was an incredible show of studying and intelligent coaching. And do you think our last manager would have done that? Do you think he'd have sat around all day long studying how Liverpool played and working out ways to do it? No, I think he'd have passed it on to his coaches and said, you do it, and I'll come in as Mr. Billy Big Bollocks and just rile the players up. That's what I think he would have done.
He would have watched Liverpool, yeah, but he wouldn't have been analysing. He would just been watching Liverpool to support them.
Probably,
that's about it.
But that's the thing. So to see Aston Villa's growth this season, it was symbolised by that performance yesterday at Liverpool. Yes, it's unfortunate that we didn't win, and it's annoying that Liverpool scored in the final minute. Yes, there are certain things I saw in the second half where I think Villa definitely could improve next season with a couple more signings. But bloody hell, to see the players with this mentality, to play in such an intelligent way. And we'll talk about how they played in a sec, drill down a bit more into it. But it was really impressive, and it just makes me really happy. So, yeah, George, do you match my level of enthusiasm for it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I do. I mean, I know you mentioned there's a tinge of disappointment that we didn't manage to cling on. I don't really look at it that way. Obviously, there was 10 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game anyway. So, they were really knocking on the door, in periods, particularly in the second half. I thought a draw was, to be honest, a fair result. They had a goal disallowed as well. And yeah, to get a draw at Anfield was more than I was expecting. I fully expected us to be beaten, to be honest. And I know you did a show with a Liverpool fan and podcaster in the build up to the game, and he was super confident. And granted, he was well within his rights to be confident, given the fact that they've won their previous 7 games. They were still challenging for a Champions League spot, of course. Our record at Anfield isn't fantastic. A lot of teams' record at Anfield isn't great. They've only lost 1 game there all season, remarkably against Leeds, going back a few months.
Leeds, God.
So it is a fortress for them. So to get a draw is fantastic, and obviously keeps us well in the mix with for a Conference League place. It's within our hands. Obviously, that final game now at home against Brighton, they've guaranteed essentially that Europa League spot with a 3-1 win against Southampton today. I think the goal difference is so vast that it's theirs, isn't it? Pretty much. So yeah. I think if you sort of drill down into it, looking at the team sheet when it was announced, I was a bit surprised by some of the changes. Obviously, at fullback in particular, Luca Dean brought in instead of Moreno. I was fully expecting Moreno to start, given how good he is exploiting that side of the pitch. And we all know that perhaps the weaknesses, if there is any, in Liverpool's team is probably down that right-hand side defensively, with Trent now playing actually much more as a centre midfielder. He sort of drops into the middle of the pitch much more. So that was an area that I thought we could exploit with Moreno and how good he's been this season. But Lucas Digne was preferred, perhaps because maybe Moreno was carrying an injury. I know he came on and went off injured. Maybe that was an issue to begin with. But I thought Lucas Digne equipped himself very, very well down that left-hand side. And obviously on the other flank, Matty Cash coming in, replacing Ashley Young. And it was so that was an interesting tactical personnel switch. And of course, Kamara coming in centre midfield, who I thought had a phenomenal game. I mean, he was getting back to the levels that we've seen him play when he has been playing. Granted, his fitness hasn't been all there this season. He's missed huge chunks of the season, unfortunately, and who knows where we would be if he was playing consistently. But he was back and doing the business. Just cleaning up, winning possession, doing what he's great at. John McGinn, just ferocious in centre midfield as well. Just what a fantastic player he's been under Emery. And yeah, if we look at other individuals, Tyrone Mings was
unbelievable.
Yeah, superb. And the England team is going to be announced in very shortly. I would be very surprised. He missed the previous squad, didn't he? But I'd be very surprised if he missed it again this time round.
If he ain't in it, I'm marching down to FA HQ myself. I'm tying myself to a bloody pole until they make the right decision.
Tying yourself to a pole with Matty Cash?
Yes. To you, George, a man of Polish heritage.
Absolutely.
You can never escape me, George. The Zielinski clan can never escape me.
I know, you're hunting me down. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's just I think Liverpool fans would be very upset that he wasn't sent off for that high challenge on Cody Gakpo. But I think it was a legitimate attempt to try and win the ball. It was clunky, it was clumsy, but it was no more than a yellow, was it? Really?
When I saw it first for the first clip, and I thought he's gone for the ball. Oh, it's a bit of a heavy collision. Like it's not too bad. And then obviously you see Gakpo's chest, and yes, it looks like he's just been in a fight with Mufasa from The Lion King. He's just been scratched by some beast. Yes. But the fact is that, like, if you watch the replay, Tyrone Mings actually isn't doing anything wrong. He's just kind of naturally watching the ball and naturally just reaching out for it.
Yeah.
And and he gets the ball. And it's just a very unfortunate coming together that, you could criticize. I don't know, like Gakpo goes to the ball in the exact same way. I don't know. I just don't think it was I don't know why this is such a controversy. I know Liverpool fans are very angry about it, but I don't think it was a red card. I think a booking's fair enough. But I just don't think it was. I'm sorry. I just think it was a legitimate attempt for the ball, and it's an accident. It's unfortunate what happens to Gakpo, but it's not. It wasn't cynical in any way at all.
No, I mean, I don't think the referee did have the best of games. I think from a Villa perspective, when I was watching the game, I mean, I messaged you. I thought he was letting a lot of things go that shouldn't have gone. Fabinho, and then there was Henderson's tackle on McGinn when McGinn was kind of through in midfield. He's kind of scissored him down and didn't even get a booking, which I thought was really frustrating. But then I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans saying that he was letting a lot of things go from our perspective and wasn't giving them a break. I think generally speaking, he did have a poor game for both sides. But when it comes to that Mings situation, I definitely think a yellow was all it was. And obviously he did go to a VAR check. The VAR check proved that the on-field decision was correct, and we move on. But yeah, they seem to be very frustrated with that decision, a lot of the Liverpool fans.
Yeah, and I understand why. I get that, and the penalty claim as well that they're saying. I could see on another day it would have been given, maybe. But I don't know. I just think ultimately, with Aston Villa, what I thought, I talk about Professor Unai's intelligence and his intellect. George, you put our brains together, and it's it ain't anywhere close to what Professor Unai's got.
No chance.
I mean, as I say, I want to get the man tattooed on my face. I want to write love poetry to him all day because yesterday Liverpool now have obviously gone with this whole fullback trend that's happening. Arsenal do it with Zinchenko. City have been doing it for a while now, and now obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold loves to push forward into midfield, and then Liverpool go into a back three. So and other teams have not coped with that. They've won 7 in a row. Other teams have not reacted to it. Finally, Aston Villa did at Anfield in a high pressure environment. Again, elite mentality. And they go there, and Emery's got John McGinn playing as the second striker. And John McGinn, that's a role that I thought McGinn actually could play because it's similar to what I feel like a Villarreal player was doing last season that was traditionally a midfielder. I can't remember who it was I was referring to. But he played that, and I thought McGinn was excellent in that role. Yet again, he's playing in so many different positions and doing the business because he would come back and he would get on, I think it was Fabinho generally. So he wouldn't let Fabinho start play from deep. And then when Alexander-Arnold tried to do the same, you'd have Watkins on him. So Watkins and McGinn actually did a great defensive job in the first half.
Yeah.
And then what would happen is Villa might win the ball back, ball into McGinn, quick left-footed whip because there's a bit more space there with that back three for Watkins to run in through too, and it worked out perfectly because Villa won a penalty. It's a shame Watkins missed, but again, I mentioned elite mentality. If it was me, I'd have got my shoulders sunk if I hit a ball wide from a penalty. Shoulders sunk, crying my eyes out, walking out the stadium, booking an Uber back to Birmingham and hiding in a darkened room for the next 10 years. And you're wondering, where's Frankie for that podcast he does? But
it'd be like, do you remember when Di Canio, like a few years back, he wasn't given a penalty and then asked to be subbed off? Remember that?
Yeah, that'd be me.
I
would just be ordering to be subbed off. I'd order them to get me an Uber as well immediately, and maybe a private jet to a remote island somewhere, become Robinson Crusoe for a while, because that's how much it would bother me. But with Ollie Watkins instead, he's able to just get over it, and he carries on for the rest of the game with doing the ugly stuff. He has to fight 2 really physical centre-backs for Liverpool. And the amount of times he's winning that ball, holding it up, laying it off, that's so difficult to do. It's the hardest job on the football pitch. I'm convinced of it. And he did it so well. It's unfortunate he missed the penalty, but again, he bounced back from it. And the Aston Villa team didn't let that penalty miss get to them, because soon after, Douglas Luiz said, by the way, first half, bloody hell, mate. We talk about how good Brazilian footballers have been over the last 50 decades or whatever. Pele, he'd be so proud. He'd be so proud of Douglas Luiz.
He's looking down now, isn't he?
Yeah. The great Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, he's watching Douglas Luiz and he's like, I need to get his autograph. What a player. He was fantastic. First half, every single time he got the ball, 3 Liverpool players on him, he'd have that 1 second of patience. Don't panic. Just look around. He'd be able to scan the area quickly, see a pass on and make it. Simple pass all the time. And then on top of that, 50-50 challenges. He was always there. He seemed to be everywhere. It was incredible. And then on top of that, Villa's lines. And so Douglas Luiz then gets his assist, crosses it in, and there's Jacob Ramsey at the back post with a lovely volley. And Jacob Ramsey as well, who was at his lung-busting best, wasn't he? 100 appearances, 21 years of age. What level can that man go to, I tell you? But then, something else that happened was, we talk about the first half defensively. It's the lines. So the midfield to the strikers and the defence to the midfield, they were so tight, so compact. It left Liverpool with 0 options to pass around, really, because we were cutting off the play from deep, so they couldn't really get going. The sort of the cog at the start of it all couldn't get going, and then at the end it was just kind of like long balls to Gakpo. And it happened again in the second half. Yes, it opened up a bit in the second half and they looked more threatening. But how many times did you see it in the second half where they were sending long balls a bit too far and it went out of play? Or a through ball that went straight to Martinez? Villa's high line worked again. So I think first half, George, bloody hell. They should make a film about it, an epic film. Martin Scorsese should make a film and cast Leonardo DiCaprio as bloody, I don't know, John McGinn. Role of a lifetime. It was incredible. But then second half, that's where you say Villa need a few more signings, I think. Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we talk about like strength of the squad, and yes, it's great to see a lot of the players that have been out for a few weeks, like the likes of Matty Cash and Kamara as well, who have been missing for a long time coming back. It's brilliant. But you still look at that bench and you think, okay, Duran, he's by no means the finished article. He may well go out on loan next year. Who knows what his kind of immediate future is at the club? Leandro Dendoncker is someone who's always been a bit in and out of the side. He's a perfectly decent player, but is he a player that we want or need if we're going to kind of get to the next level? So, and also, if you think about Kamara and his injury record, do we need someone else to play in that sort of role? If we qualify for Europe, of course, we're playing more games. We might need someone to come in and kind of do that job when he's not around during the course of the season. So, yeah, I think absolutely there are areas of the pitch we need to improve. Certainly, I think on the right hand side, Leon Bailey again not really at it.
Wasn't at it, was he?
No, unfortunately, which is a shame. And you think he has been given has he been given a fair crack of the whip? Probably.
He's had plenty of chances. I want us to be proven wrong, and I feel like there is an amazing talent there, natural talent, but it just feels like he's just not got the consistency. He's the only player I look at in that Villa team and think he hasn't gone up a level since Emery came in. I think he's still at where he was before Emery came in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know whether he needs another kind of summer, another pre-season to kind of like become more familiar and work with Emery a bit more. But I don't know. I agree. I mean, it would be a huge shame, I think, to say goodbye to him. I think, as you say, there's a lot of natural talent there. We were all really excited when he joined the club, when obviously Dean Smith was in charge. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to be working for him. So yeah, that's certainly one to look at. But that's certainly an area of the pitch that we need to kind of improve in, because if he isn't in form or if he's injured or whatever, we need someone to be playing in that side of the pitch to be on it and to be effective and to be causing problems for other teams. And certainly that seems to be the area of the pitch where we're linked with players. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, it will be a really exciting summer transfer wise, just to see who does come in. So yeah, we'll see. But if we kind of talk about Europe now, Frankie, we're just one game away, aren't we? We play Brighton, the final game of the season next week. As I say, Brighton are pretty much guaranteed Europa League football. What will their mentality be like at Villa Park? Villa will be raucous. Hopefully it will be a glorious sunny day, final day of the season, good vibes only. Do you think we'll get there? Do you think we'll get the 3 points we need to make sure we get into the Europa Conference League? What an incredible achievement that will be,
When the pressure's on, Villa seem to do the business. We had to beat Spurs and we did it. We had to get a result at Liverpool and we did it.
Yeah.
We had to the acid test against Newcastle, and we absolutely destroyed them in a way that nobody else has for a full calendar year. I think absolutely Villa can win it. And Brighton are bizarrely quite inconsistent, actually.
In recent weeks,
they'll batter Wolves 6-0 one week, and then they'll lose 5-1 at home to Everton.
I think with them as well. Of course, they've had. Their run of games recently has been bizarre. The fact they've had so many clustered into such a short period of time. I think perhaps those anomalous results were to be expected.
Yeah,
and they've done enough now. They've still got 2 games left to play. Of course, I think the next game is Man City, who also are going to be on the beach now they've won the league.
Well,
so
you'd think they would be, but that's these City players. You look at their bench and they're bringing Calvin Phillips off and drinking pina coladas all year. Phil Foden's been on.
I thought you could bring in Pina Colada on. I thought, who's this guy?
200 million quid signing from
Pina Colada.
Yeah, 200 million quid signing from River Plate who never plays or something. Even the bench players like Phil Foden will probably play. They'll. I still think they'll do something against Brighton, and I think, I think that Villa will. I think the pressure's on. I think the atmosphere will be good. I think we'll do it. I think we will. I rarely ever feel confident about Villa. I still to this day I don't anticipate us to beat Liverpool away or get a draw. I still think we'll lose, just because that's the way I've been conditioned now for so long. But I'm looking at this game and I think it'll be really tough. I think Brighton the style of play they'll have will be really difficult to play against. But Unai Emery, sitting around all week, he won't be playing Legend of Zelda. He'll be studying Brighton. So, I think we'll approach this game exactly as it needs to be approached. I think Alex Moreno's injury is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think we can. But I also want to mention, Tyrone Mings. I said it before. I tell you what, man, unbelievable. He's unbelievable. Yes, I thought he was fantastic against Liverpool. I think he'll do the same against Brighton. Hopefully, I think everybody looks up for it right now, and I think that these players and Unai Emery deserve to make Europe with what they've done since Emery joined the club all the way back in October.